Hi there, Loy Machedo. Speaking to you from loymachedo.com. Who's Loy Machedo? Think personal branding. Okay, I wanted to give you my thoughts about this guy, this crypto tycoon, Sam Bankman-Fried. He lost 94% of his fortune overnight, making the biggest one-day collapse among billionaires on record. And how much did he lose? He was worth 16 billion earlier this year, and his fortune has gutted down by 94% to less than a billion, from 16 billion to 1 billion. Okay, he has lost 94% of his wealth. So obviously, you could say this recession or this winter is not only with crypto billionaires, but it is also affecting all tech companies like Meta or Facebook, cut 11,000 jobs. Okay, and Elon Musk, who took over Twitter, had to sell 3.95, that's 4 billion of shares. Okay, so I'll give you my thoughts on each one and you let me know your thoughts. Okay, so first let's start with Meta. Okay, Meta cuts 11,000 jobs and sinks even more into the metaverse. As it is, when he announced the metaverse and I saw what it just was bloody cartoon, putting this headset and being in some kind of cartoony world. And for me, I was just using common sense. Who the hell is going to wear a headset? That was the first thing. And second is, who's going to, after wearing a headset, play with someone? Where do we have time for all this? As it is, when we see our smartphones, we are so concerned, we're addicted to our smartphones. Now, do you want to be in some kind of virtual land 24/7? It's just like that movie Wall-E, who the hell wants to be there? And on top of that, I mean, you're going to be and watch each other, cartoony people. What are you going to do? Seriously, what are you going to do? Touch each other, feel each other, talk to each other, have sex? What? Even Zoom, which was at $70 a share, went up to $700 a share during the pandemic because people were remotely working and because of the COVID lockdown. But now people are gone back to the office. The shares of Zoom has come down to 120. So where is this so-called demand for remote working? Companies want you to come back to work and have that culture of working. So now, okay, and see, here's the one thing. When we were young, we were told, don't look, don't sit in so close in front of the TV. Today, we are actually putting something that is right in front of our eyes, man. What the hell is this? I mean, do you want a world where you're naturally interacting with people, being with nature, being in the normal world? Or do you want to just, lie down and be like a zombie, one of those futuristic movies and have this thing on your head and don't move at all? What the hell? They might as well take our brains out and just put it in a machine, right? If that is how we want to function. So for me, this whole metaverse concept was nonsense. But in terms of business, Mark Zuckerberg made this massive mistake of converting a brand like Facebook, which was so well known, into this Meta. And he called it from now, we're going to be called Meta. It's going to be Metaverse. He thought, just as we have this, why don't you Google? And Google became a verb. Why don't you Zoom? Just as Zoom and Skype became a verb. He thought Meta is going to be a verb. He thought, why don't we Meta? Why don't we, he thought Meta is going to be part of our lives. And like they say, the classic mistake where you achieve success in life so many times, you literally think you're invincible because you think whatever you touch will turn to gold. And because the Facebook had reached its peak and now was slowly moving towards decline, he could see it. He wanted still Facebook to be the the king of the mountain. He wanted to be the richest man in the world. He wanted to be whatever, the most powerful, among the most powerful. And Facebook to be the most visited site in the world. He didn't want to let go of being the king at the top. So he came out with Metaverse. But lo and behold, people are fed up. This new generation that is coming, they hate this Facebook. They don't like Facebook. It's too intrusive, too much of privacy issues, too much of influence. And we have seen how Instagram impacts girls and youngsters and children. And it's become so toxic and dangerous from where it used to be like we will get in touch with our friends and relatives. Now it is like, no, I don't want anyone knowing my personal business. So privacy took a major front seat while Facebook, went at the back seat. So he knew, and he thought he could conquer the world again with metaverse, but nobody was buying it. And given the fact how many times he appeared in front of Congress and said, "Oh, we made a mistake. I made a mistake. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." He kept escaping the law. He kept escaping punishment, and people were angry with him. Even I was irritated. I couldn't bear to see his face. I mean, just sitting there. I'm sorry. We made a mistake, but he didn't pay any price for it. Finally, he's paying the price, and he's one of the most hated visionaries, you could say. So now, obviously, there's a decline, and everyone's very happy about it. And like I've always told you, what is the use of this metaverse? So he thought he could conquer the world, and he put billions and billions into it. And during the pandemic, he doubled down and tripled down on employing more people for the metaverse. And lo and behold, now it is mass layoffs. 11,000 people are being terminated. And once again, his normal sentence, which is very well curated, written by script writers and lawyers. I got this wrong and I take responsibility for that. It's so embarrassing to listen to him read this scripted this thing. The Meta, which was worth more than 1 trillion once upon a time, today is worth 256 billion, losing 70% of its share alone. And Zuckerberg, it seems, is still stubborn about the metaverse. He still believes that metaverse is going to succeed. Well, let's see how far he decides to keep being stubborn. Because I'll tell you, it is going to metaverse. This thing is not only going to collapse, it's going to drag down Facebook. It'll come to a point where maybe the board will just terminate Mark Zuckerberg. Take my words. I feel one day they're just going to terminate him and say, get out. So the company now expects 2023 expense of 94 billion to 100 billion compared to 96 to 101 billion. The expenses more or less the same, but the revenues, revenues are pretty low. The business lost 9.44 billion from January last year, and losses are going to increase even more. So, oh, who feels sorry for him? And I don't think anyone is feeling sorry for him. Anyway, so let me know your thoughts with regards to the metaverse. That is number one. The second one is Elon Musk. I told you before, taking over Twitter was a massive mistake. He took over Twitter. And now I think he's strapped for liquidity. I don't know. That's what I'm assuming, which is why he sold 3.94 billion worth of Tesla shares. 19.5 million shares he sold. That in turn has impacted Tesla. See, he's dragging down Tesla along with him. And whenever people used to tell me, oh, he's the richest man in the world, he has 44 billion, he just jumped up within a year. I always tell them that it is not the cash in hand. He doesn't have cash in the bank. It is you're evaluating his value, his riches with stocks, with the value of the stock. So the value of the stock comes down tomorrow. It keeps fluctuating, man. And so it seems that now his worth is how much? He has lost 200 billion less. Musk has sold more than 19 billion worth of stock to fund his share of the Twitter purchase. And now Tesla has lost half its market value. Remember, people are saying Tesla is going to be the most valuable company in the world. Cathy Wood and all those people, and they thought he's invincible. So Musk's net worth has slumped by 70 billion. Well, I know he's still the richest man. Still nothing to worry about. But keep in mind, I've told you this, nobody is God and nobody can play God. Okay? Which finally comes down to crypto tycoon Sam Bankman-Fried, who lost 94% of his wealth. FTX CEO Sam Bankman lost 16 billion this year to now his 1 billion, which is still a lot more than us normal folks. But just imagine, he lost 94% of his wealth in 24 hours. So that should be shocking to you. That should show you how volatile, how unstable, how, you cannot depend on crypto. It's nonsense. If you can be you can be 16 billion today and 1 billion tomorrow, That should clearly tell you how volatile crypto is. It is nothing but gambling. So this guy, this 30-year-old CEO, announced that his crypto exchange FTX is being sold. So finally he decided to sell it off. Oh, that's good. At least he has 1 billion cash. And so now this Bankman's 53% stake in FTX was worth 6.2 billion, while another was 7.4 billion in a crypto house, Alameda Research. With Binance acquisition, now both of them are at $1 each, both values. I don't understand that bit. You can read its Yahoo News, links are put down below. With the sudden loss, which is common among the world's richest people, but billionaires have never parted ways with such gigantic proportions of their fortune. So here is a list of the billionaires who have lost everything. Meta founder Mark Zuckerberg lost 29 billion on Feb 3rd, but his net worth is still 84.3 billion. Okay. 2021 Tesla CEO lost 50 billion in 2 days when he polled should he sell his 10% of his share of Tesla. Amazon Jeff Bezos in 2019 lost 36 billion overnight when he gave up 25% of his stock to settle with his wife Mackenzie, who's anyway spending his money and showing how charitable she is. And finally, it came down to Bankman, whose new record is losing 94% of his entire wealth. Okay, so very good, very good. So Bankman-Fried's losses come at the wake of a devastating $600 billion crypto crash this year. Now, the only one who's left standing is maybe one of them is Changpeng Zhao, the founder of Binance, who lost 79.4 billion because of the crash, but is still the last man standing with his billion-dollar status. Okay. So virtual money, my friends, virtual money, cryptocurrency is not real money, and that is why I'm not a very big fan of it. I've always spoken against it. It's only those people who want to make quick money and get out. They're convincing themselves and telling, hey, what the hell do you know? All this is fake money. It's just numbers and digits. But those who are smart exchange these digits for serious cash and they ride off into the sunset, leaving behind a big, big, big playground, massive playground of all victims and dead investments. Anyway, this is what I wanted to share with you. Let me know your thoughts, good, bad, ugly, in the comments below. This is me signing off. You guys take care.